Hello and welcome, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining in from. My name is Rav, and I'm the program manager at Reactor London, and I welcome you all to another live session at the Reactors. Before we get into the session, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We're all here to learn, so please be respectful when interacting, asking questions, and the chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. Today is episode 2 of Low Code October, and we have our absolutely amazing cloud advocates joining in from the Africa region, Somelise and Ola. I'm actually now going to bring them up on the screen and they will take over. Hello, both.
Hi,
Hello.
Rav. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. Somalis, it's good to see you again.
It's
I'm
been a while.
excited.
Yeah, I'm also excited too. It's been such an amazing session from last week, and I want to see what we actually have in store for today so that people can be able to see that you can build this facility maintenance app, but also add automation onto it. Obviously, I don't want to spoil other parts of the series, obviously. We will have to wait for episode 3. But today, we are looking at how we can actually automate the facility maintenance process this time using Power Automate. So, Ola, how are you feeling about this session today?
I'm actually feeling really excited and I'm inspired because of the possibility you can get using Power Apps. As a matter of fact, I followed through the last week video, Somelis, and I walked through to recreate the application you built for us. So the app I'm demoing today that I'm using Power Automate for is the one I built by myself by following through your guide. That is awesome. Awesome. So I'm really excited to show the continuation of this journey, and there are a lot of suspense here because this series is really interesting.
Definitely, it's so wonderful to hear you say that you are following through with that video. And obviously, for everyone else who were not here last week, you can still find the YouTube video that Ola is actually talking about, and you can follow through and then catch up with us on today's episode. So let's just jump right into it and see what we actually have in store today. Right. Obviously, my name is Samuel Zatigo, and I'm a cloud advocate at Microsoft for the Power Platform, AI, and Fusion development. And I will let Ola to actually introduce himself.
I'm Olanwaju Oyinboke. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm the senior cloud advocate at Microsoft. I mean, on the same team with Somelis, Fusion Development, Power Platform, and here.
Yeah, we have our amazing moderators, John and Favor, on YouTube. So this session is definitely live, and you guys can pop your questions on the chat box so that you can be able to learn with us while we are going along. You don't necessarily have to wait until the end of the session to ask those questions. You can ask the questions while we are going through with the session. Right. Again, today's session, even with last week's sessions, is actually focused around the Microsoft Power Platform, which is a no code, low code, and also code first, where you are able to welcome everyone else. What I love about the Power Platform is that it enforces, not really enforces, but nourishes collaboration between teams, whether you're a citizen developer or a professional developer who loves code. So we look at Power Apps and Power Automate with Power BI for this low code, no code series that we have for low code October. But obviously, there are Power Pages and Power Virtual Agents that you can also play around when you feel like you want to spice up the solutions that we are building through low code October. Right. For those who don't know about Low Code October, is that we are helping you learn how to build connected solutions with Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI, where you work on a real project to showcase all of this new learning that we offer you through Low Code October. Right. Again, Last week, we were building a facility maintenance app with Microsoft Power Apps. And obviously, this week, we're trying to automate the entire process. There are stuff that I had questions about last week when I was going through that entire video where I was showing everyone how to build a facility maintenance app using Power Apps. But now, those questions will definitely be answered today when we are building that automated solution. Obviously, on week 3, which is next week, Tuesday, same time, same place, where we are actually doing a facility maintenance application data analysis. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm not going to go into deep about that because this is a 3-part series and we know we love series. We don't want people coming with spoilers, right? When building an app, just like what we talked about last week, is that you would have the front end where you have the interface where everyone else is actually interacting with your application. You saw last week again, if you haven't seen it, you can watch the video where we built the entire interface of the facility maintenance app so that we can showcase people that they can be able to interact with the application. And you have to build and think about the middleware of everything whenever you're building your app using the Power Platform. In our case, this is when we're automating the business processes at the back end without the user knowing. For an example, approval process, which is something I had questions about last week when we were building the solution and the app, notifications, and etc. And also, obviously, we looked at the back end last week around where the data is being stored. In our case, we were using a Dataverse table, which was a custom table. Again, I don't want to get into it too much. I did a huge explanation around what are tables within Dataverse and also which types can you use based off of whatever requirements that you have. Ideally, your facility maintenance app would look something similar to this. Obviously, this is more on inspections around trucks, but obviously, you can adapt a scenario like this to your specific requirements. Right. Again, the back end is Microsoft Dataverse. Everything that we're doing with low code October is connected right back to Microsoft Dataverse where we store our data. You saw with our interface or our Power App that all of the information, the data was coming from Dataverse, and when we were storing it and sending it back to our data source, it was Dataverse. And today, in which I'm not spoiling, you might see that we're still using Dataverse for everything. Okay, enough chit chat about what happened last week. Let's focus on today's session. Today, we are looking at the middleware of everything, which is we are using Power Automate to automate all of the processes for the facility maintenance application. As you can see on the screenshot on the screen, obviously, it shows you when a specific event occurs within a specific data source, in which is something you will see in action today. And you can see that there's create an approval action there, which is something I was thinking about last week, and how the admin can actually approve the inspection of the facility. Obviously, Ola Loranju will be actually walking us through on how to build such a middleware and how the middleware would look like. I know when we mentioned middleware last week, everyone was scared and saying, how can you actually build middleware within the Power Platform? Power Automate is actually your answer. Right, like I said, episode 2 is more of a continuation of the facility maintenance application, and it's a big story. It's not focused on only building one application, but it's also leveraging and taking advantage of Power Automate to send notifications to the admin team based off of any admission, and also automate weekly statuses reports on pending issues. Right. Today we'll build that automated cloud flow and a schedule flow so that you can be able to see that middleware working in action. I don't want to bore you too much about the theoretical aspect of it, but obviously Olaruwanju will be covering this in the next segment of the session. And again, with Power Automate, you can automate and integrate business processes with this specific product. You can be able to model all your business processes and automate workflows and your apps and services where you can be able to go deep and abroad from simple individual automation to advanced organization scenarios with branches, loops, and more. I know this sounds scary when I talk about it theoretically, but you can see on the screenshot as well. With the actions, it actually talks about how the entire process of your business rules, your business requirements can actually flow within Power Automate. Again, I spoke about trigger actions and the triggers that you would have within Power Automate, and for your business requirement, you would find them within that. Right. Let's just take a small walkthrough of how our specific solution will be looking like and how a middleware will be looking like. Right. Firstly, we have the user, or we have a student if it's a facility from the university. Upon that submission, that user should be getting an acknowledgement email that they've submitted an issue. We do not want to build a solution that is not really user friendly or does not provide a better user experience. What would be the next step afterwards? Obviously, I was talking about admin last week, but it was more of a theoretical or high level explanation that I gave you. So in this case, upon that submission, the submission of a new issue is that the admin should get a notification email as well with a link to open the Power Apps, and then the admin should be able to assign an inspector to the issue reported. You saw the fields that we had there. We had an assigned to field where an admin can be able to specify who is it assigned to. You'll see this process in action today. Obviously, right after that, what should happen is that upon that assignment, an inspector, whoever inspector is assigned to that specific issue, the inspector should also get a notification email, and then also with a link to open Power Apps. And then right after that, upon completion of the inspection of that specific facility, the inspector should complete the cost field and change the status to inspected. Obviously, they've done their job and they've walked through the entire facility and fixed whatever issues are there and inspected that specific area and reported it back to the admin. And how do they do that? Is that right after they change the status to inspected, then the admin will come into action and will change the status to fixed once the inspection is complete. So basically, that's just a high level of the process. Obviously, Olaruwanju, as much as he's going to come in now and show you how to use Power Automate to actually do all those kinds of things that I've been explaining in a high level. Olaruwanju, show us what you have in store for us today.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Sumelis, and I'm glad that you've, sort of set everything for us. We've seen the application. Right now, can I confirm if you can see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that you can see the touch of difference. This is what I was able to come up with. Looks like your app. I changed the icon here a little bit different from what you used, and I tried to also copy the color code, but looks nice. I think I got it right. Okay, and I might be looking here because I'm looking at the screen where I can see the process that we need to automate and guide us through. That's the same screen that Sumelis shared with us. In terms of automation, we built this application. It's functional, and we have some items on it. We have about 2 different items right there. I can change the status to assigned. None has been assigned, and that's why it's empty. Go back to new. On these, I can come right here and edit. And in case I want to assign to someone, I can assign to someone, say inspector. Okay, that is the name for the inspector. I can change the status to assign and then save. And the moment I do that, this gets saved and it's no longer in new. I can go back here, assign. I see it has been assigned. I can go there as an inspector and see, oh, it has been assigned to me. Because it has been assigned, I can actually look into it again and say, oh, I've inspected it. The moment I click on inspected and change the status, I'm able to see more functions right there. Okay. So this is how they play with the app. It's no longer assigned. It is now under inspected. All right, but let's go back to what we actually need to do today, which is the connecting dots. How do we automate the processes in between them? First, when a new item is created, we want to send email notification to that person. We also want to send notification to the admin. Hey, someone has submitted a new issue, and the admin can link back to the app. Right. So we're going to be using Power Automate for this, and Power Automate is one of the family. because Power Platform has, Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, and Power Pages. Power Apps for building application mobile app, which is the one we just used. Power Automate for automating processes. Power BI for visualization and data analysis. Power Virtual Agent for building chatbot, still low code, no code, and Power Pages for building website or company website. Okay, right here I'm in Power Automate. If you're wondering how to navigate there, wherever you are in the Power Platform family of apps and tools, you can use this waffle button at the top left and navigate those apps and services. Right here is Power Automate. Or you click on all apps, you can see all the apps you need to access, especially Power BI, Power Automate, and Power Apps. In Power Automate, there are two major things that determines your solution. One is a trigger, and the other one is actions. Trigger are the set of this is the event or activity that must take place for your flow to be triggered or for your flow to start running. So what should happen based on the process we have in place? When someone submits a new issue, they get triggered and send that person acknowledgement email as well as the admin notification email. Cool. So we have our trigger already. And I'm just going to go here and click on create. We have different type of flows here. We have automated cloud flow, meaning this flow should run automatically, but it should be triggered by an event. We have instant cloud flow. Here, I want to be the one to trigger it because you don't need it every time. So anytime you need it, you want to go ahead and trigger that flow. We have scheduled cloud flow where you don't want to go there to manually trigger it and you want it to run more than once. So let it start running next week, maybe a weekly report. Let it start running next week. And going forward, every Friday, it should keep running and execute the set of actions that have been set. We also have desktop flow, which is an attended RPA, robotic automation processing. You can also leverage that for unattended RPA as well. We have the process advisor, which sort of evaluate the flow you have and tell you if it is optimal or not. What can you do better in your process? Because that flow simulates your business process. The way the business is, that is the flow we're having right here. It's going to tell us where you are taking longer time, or maybe you should, optimize this, re-engineer the process. That's what process advisor actually does, and another recommendation. Let's go ahead and create our first flow, automated cloud flow. We want to create automated cloud flow, and this is for new submission. So I'm going to call it new submission. So when new attempt is submitted, what is going to be our trigger? You can see I've named it as new submission. What is our trigger? Our trigger is going to be when a new record is submitted and is on database, because database is our database. Okay, right here, if I type database, it's just going to look for the code or every trigger relating to database. And what we need is right here. When a role is added, that is when new item is created. I'm going to check it and say create. If you watch here, you can see some legacy. They're also database. Legacy means they are getting obsolete and they'll be taken out later. So even if it is these are the triggers you are using, you need to change them to the new one. This one encompasses everything. When a role is added, when it is modified or deleted. Just a single trigger to do all those three things instead of having different triggers. So it is advised to use this new one, which is when the role is added or modified. I'm going to click on create. It takes me to the Power Automate Studio. And right there, all you can see here is a trigger. It's asking me to configure this trigger. What condition must be met for this flow to be triggered? So what kind of change am I looking for? When an item is added or deleted, added or modified, added, modified, or deleted. You see a lot of combination of scenarios. But what we're interested in, this flow should be triggered when new item is added. So I'm going to say added when a new record is created. What table are we interested in right here? Table name is facility. We have sort of tables on database. See, these are standard tables. So facility maintenance is the one that we created. So I'm going to look for it. Facility maintenance demo. That is the table. And it's asking me the scope organization-wide. So it's not limited to business unit. The scope is to control the security. We might want to say this should only be accessed organization-wide or business or unit or by user. But here, this solution is by everyone, who is using it. So organization-wide, and it has captured that. This is a trigger. Anytime someone drops a new record, it's definitely going to run. What next do we want to do? Send email. You want to send notification email. So send email. So when I just type set send email, that is the action that I want to perform. It's going to show me all these things called connectors. Connectors are services that enable you to perform or execute a task. That is what connectors are. And right here, we have loads of connectors. I want to send email saying I can use the mail nativity from Power Automate that comes with Power Automate, or if I have Office 365 license, I can use the send email with option. It's for different purpose. I can use the send an email, which is what I'm going to use. I can use send email notification. This is a notification on app or desktop. Even when you are sending different email options, even Gmail, you can send with Gmail, you can send with HTTP request and many other ways here, right here. SMTP, but we are interested in send an email with Office 365 Outlook because we are within the Microsoft ecosystem and it's making all this integration seamless for us and possible, right? So who am I sending this email to? So the person that actually filled the records. So one thing I've done is the username is on another table called user table. But what I've done here, which I'm going to show a similar scenario, is to create a table called user email. I created a table in Dataverse table, and this is the demo. And while submitting new record, it's going to automatically capture the email of that person and drop it on that table as well. So I have the table right here, which I'm going to show as another creation so that you know how do I create this. We've done that last time. I'm going to go to dynamic content. You see right here, it's showing me that this guy looks like what you need here because this column this cell can only take email. So do you want to put in this user email? That is what I want. If it's something else, we can search here, see more. You see every other feeds in as a dynamic content. User email. That's what I want. Subject, I'm going to say new report, new issue submission. Another good advantage here in Power Automate, you can use icon. You can use Windows icon. If I press Window key and full stop, it's going to show me all this icon. And I can type to filter what I want to do. If I say new, you can see new. I'm typing new and it shows me the kind of icons I can use. I'm going to select this guy new. It looks emoji. It looks awesome. New issue submission. Yep. Then right here, referencing that person that submitted this. I say thank you. Let's say thank you for submitting defect observed, damage observed. Okay, damage observed on our campus. Details. Now I want to share the details below. What did the person submit? Maybe don't forget on our app we have the feeds right here. Right here we have venue name, damage observed. Let's add those things. So we have venue name of the venue, and then damage observed. So these are just label. Where's the actual value? Venue name. So I can easily search here for venue. I'll be able to get the venue name. That is what actually was submitted. And damage observed. Right here, I can also search for damage observed. I will see it right here. And thank you for submitting the damage of false autocorrect. Then regards. You can say regards. You can customize this regards. And right here, I can also copy the admin so that they are notified. But but I don't want to because I want to show you another thing. I want to show you how you can give the admin the link directly to go to that app. It's not going to be a complete solution, but let's see this quickly so that we move on to the next action. Right here, we are done sending our email to the person that submitted this issue. And another email, because I want to send another action. You can see a flow must start with a trigger, and then you have series of actions. Right here, I want to send email. Sending another email again. Yeah, send an email. This time around, I'm sending
Um, hi, Ola. I think you
Hi,
froze
can
a
you hear
little
me?
bit. Hi,
Uh,
I think, yeah, so you might have to repeat the last 5 minutes. I think you froze a little bit.
5 minutes or seconds?
Actually, five, yeah, like a couple of seconds, not 5 minutes. That'll be a lot. Maybe
Okay.
last 30 seconds, last 30 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apologies. It's a network challenge here. Okay, I'm deleting that step and going on to the next one. Okay, what I was explaining here is I have fixed in this is the venue name. I want to report the venue name, the damage observed, and right there I have fixed them from this dynamic content. This is going to the person that submits the issue. I also want to notify the admin that a new damage has been reported, and so that the person can go ahead and check it out. So I'm going to create a new action, add a new action to send an email. Why don't I copy admin? I want to provide link to that item. What if we can copy that? But I want to provide link, and in case you don't want the user to have access to that item because of maybe the additional fees that you show, you can then limit this to the admin, and that is why I'm sending a new email. Rather than just adding the admin as a copy, send an email. And here, because I don't have the admin, we don't have the admin hard coded, I mean, sort of identify right here, I can put the email of the admin. We can also retrieve the email of the admin from another team if we have programmed that this is the admin. But right here, we have to put email of the admin. I'm putting Olachas. See, I already have a title admin, but it's just a title, not really like an admin. And here I'm going to put new issue reported. And hi, dear admin, a new issue has been reported. Click here, a new damage, let's just call it damage. By the way, a new damage has been reported. Click here to check it out. Regards. The process of checking out by clicking a link and it takes you there is called deep linking. I will not be, in fact, that is your assignment. I'm going to show you half of it and ask you to complete it. It's going to work. What we do will work, but it's not doing exactly deep linking, but I will show you how it is. So how do you link directly to the app? You want to link to the app and not the item. If I go back to my Power Apps right here, I go to apps, you're going to see the facility demo here. I use this three dot option to click on details. You will see this link. This link, this web link, is the link that takes you to the app. Now, if you want to deep link, if you want to go to that particular item, it's called deep linking and it's a different part. But I'm going to just show you at least how to retrieve part of the expression before you go on there to link to the exact item. That will be your assignment. But right here, I'm just going to link to the app. I say click here. I've highlighted it. I'm using this option here, link. Then I'm going to put it right there. I've pasted it. I'm going to click on add. As you can see, it is now green. Shows that yes, it is hyperlinked. When you click on it, it's going to take you somewhere else. So I'm going to click on save here. This is pretty much what I need. We've done with our first process. When someone submits a new item or report a new damage, it should send notification to the person, to the user, and also notify the admin. Unfortunately, right now, I'm going to test this and I'm the admin. Yeah, so I'm the admin right now, but let's test the app. I'm going to play the app. I'm the user, I'm the admin. Fortunately, so but I have to test it this way. Reports, I'm going to click on new. Where did I observe? Assembly point, damage observed, potholes or computers not working. Location, this is Lagos. Lagos, and I can pick image. And right there, while I'm picking image, I can actually use any picture right here. I'm just going to use a sample picture, by the way. Okay, let's put this just an image of Python. It's a port to observe, and here additional comments. The pothole is getting bigger. And I'm going to say right here, it's going to capture my email. I've done this it's successful. If I come back here, this I'm give on new, I have assembly point new. This is the new issue now. And our flow, because it's saved, if I go back here to check, it's successful. It just ran 8 seconds ago and it's successful. I should expect a mail. Oops, I have two email is expected. Mind me, I think I have a flow that's run again. This is the first one. You say, hi, thank you for submitting the damage observed on our campus. Got it? Vene, okay, I'm going to show damage observed because there are options. I should select the value from them. This is what they were coded at the back end. Vene is coded as number, but it's a value. So I'm going to show us that in the part 2 of this session. But here we've gotten the email. And as admin, this is the email that comes to me as admin. Dear admin, a new damage has been reported. Click here. Oops, you can see the link did not work. Click here. All right. So let's quickly go here and edit. I want us to see the link working. And if I edit here, the link didn't work. So what I can do is, if you highlight here again and check and paste and click add is there, make sure you toggle this guy to the code view to see that, oh, it's linked. Right here, it is linked and I can save. Now that I've saved, I need to test again. I don't need to submit any item. I just need to run it here. Automatically, what I just ran, successful. Let's run it again. If I run this again, I'm expecting to, yeah, I've been hearing now. I'm expecting to email one to confirm, oh, a new issue has been submitted, like usual, and the second one to the admin. Now the admin is giving me the link. If I click on this link, do not open Power Apps. Is opening Power Apps are not taking me directly to the item. So taking me directly, this is for development and test purposes, yes. So taking me directly to the app is deep link to the item is deep linking. And that is what I want to be your assignment. I've linked you to the app. So how do you then link to the exact item? Right. We just don't want out of many other things. Now there's a bit of a trick here. The next process is once the admin assign an inspector to the issue reported, upon assignment, the inspector should get a notification. And then once the inspector inspects, inspector should be able to fill the cost and change the status. As they are doing this, they are changing status. So once the status change from new to assign, something should happen. So how do we recover that? How do we make sure that when the status change to assign or to inspected or to fixed, our process is always running? We are done with the notification, that is new submission. We have to go back here and create a new one, a new flow that will run anytime status are changing. It's automated cloud flow as well. And this time around, I'm going to call it status change. So this is the flow that is going to manage changing of status. And Dataverse, of course, that is the data source. So we want to track that. When a role is added, modified, or deleted, that is still the trigger that we need. But this time around, I'm going to focus on modified and not new. So initially we were doing when it's a new role is added. We don't need added now. We don't need deleted. We need modified. The moment there's a change made on that particular role, meaning something has taken place, right? And what table are we looking at? Facility maintenance demos. Scope is still organization. Right now, there's a bit of a trick here because we can't recover. We can't tell if it is status column that actually changed. You can modify, you can change the image. Maybe you chose the wrong vendor. You can change the vendor and there's a modification on that row. But you don't know if the status column changed. And that is something that is not yet in Dataverse connector. So how do we do this? Let's create a column, change date on the back end. And automatically when you change the status, let's just update it with today's date, the date it was changed. So that way we are sure that the moment there's issue status change, that date column will also change. What we have to do is go back to Dataverse, the table we are using. I'll just create a text column and hold it there, or date only. I can, facility demo. I can create a new column right here. New column by clicking on new column on facility demo. And what column do I want to create? I'll call it date status, I can call it status change, because this is what is helping me to know if the status cell or column did not change. Nothing will be updated on that date. It will only be the last date it was changed. And this is how we can actually track that. Indeed, status column change. These are the ways you can think through processes. While the connector seems not to have this functionality, you can still achieve that within Power Apps. It's just putting one or two things in place. Right here is status change that we're creating. We can still make it a date, but I just want to keep it as a text. I just want to drop something as a text on it, and that I'm fine with that. Nothing more is optional. I'm going to click on save. So this column has been created. I'm going to go back to my Power Apps. For me to, and just to be sure it's done, it's been created. Yeah, it's done. The network is taking some time to load. Okay, so let's go back here. I need to go to my data source and refresh just to be sure that it captured that new column, because it might not be refreshed. Now it's working on it. Yep, it's done. So back here and on my edit screen, I'm going to add status change, that column. I need to add it. And how do I do that? Go back to property and edit feed, add new feed. I need status change. That is what I need. I'm going to click on add. So status change is going to be added. I don't need to touch it, but I need to write some formula to touch it. Some formula that will touch it actually. And the first thing to do is to come to this item status. And there is, I'm going to select inside so that I'm selecting exactly that item. And you're going to see the function here. I'm going to clear this. You see, you're going to see this on change. There are several properties here on select, on change, but I'm interested in on change. When the value here changes, what should happen? And I want to write some expression, if condition. I call it if condition to actually do this evaluation. And what is the if condition? We want to check if the value in that column is not the same thing as the new value selected. It means something has changed. If that is the case, then just save today's date as a column, and that is it. So we're going to say if, remember the issue is this item, which is issue status, this item dot issue status, meaning the value there inside issue status, if the value is not equals to, that is how to write not equals to here, is not equals to the new value selected. To get the new value selected, this particular guy is called data card value 9. How do we know it's data card value 9? If I scroll down here, you're going to see from right here, you can see the guy I select is data card value 9. That is the combo box name. So I'm saying whatsoever selected here. So I'm coming back to my expression now and say if it's data card value 9, this is the guy. Data card whatsoever was selected in that data card. That's why I'm using selected dot value. So what I'm only referencing here is the exact value. So it's not just selection. If what exists in this column is not the same thing as the new value selected for that combo box, that's the condition. If that is the case, set, I'm creating a variable and I'm going to call it var change. Var change. How about calling it status change? I can call it status change. That's the name of the variable. Because I already have a column, don't let's cause complication there. Let's call it var change. That's the variable that we house today's date. All I need is just today. Put today inside it. It's like an exec function. Otherwise, what if it is equals to the same value? So it's the same thing, nothing changes. Then put back there what was there, which is this item dot issue status. That is it. I can format this so that I can see how it looks like. If I say format test, it's going to just put it in this formula. This item, if what was in that column, if it's not the same thing as the new value selected, obviously it has changed. Then just save today's date inside this variable var change. Otherwise, let it be. Whatsoever was there, let it remain there. Okay. we've done this, then I have to come back to status change because that's where I want to put today's date now. I need to unlock it so that I can, really, so that I can tamper with the value there. I've unlocked it, and you see update. The moment that happens, then update status change with var change. That is the variable var change. That is all we need to do. So right now, anytime there's a change on this issue status, that column will only be updated with the date the change takes place. And once it's done, Power Automate now have something to compare. We want to know if there's truly a change in this issue status, so we can then use status change. All right. I'm going to save this and go back now to Power Automate. And in Power Automate, I'm going to add action. And in my action, I'm adding a condition. Here, I'm adding a condition to evaluate first. Control, if I click on control, I'm going to say condition control. I want to check if today's date, because immediately you make that modification, this gets triggered. Okay, evaluate if the date is the same thing as the date on the status change. It means that yes, something changed. And I'm going to look for status change here. I guess this column is not yet updated, so I need to refresh. But first, let me put my expression here for today's date. So I can also get today date here in expression, or rather I can format UTC now. Format UTC now. I can format it in the format. What format do I have it? Today's day dd/mm/year, day, month, year. And it's going to just give me the date. It's equals to, let me put something here so that I can save and refresh. Because this has not picked up the new column we added. If I save now and reload, we'll be able to evaluate it against the new column that we've added. So let me refresh now, reload rather. And while doing that, we're almost done. And once it's changed, we send for approval. Especially I want to demonstrate the approval part. When you see something like this, you've not lost your changes. Go back to my flow and go back and click and edit on that same flow we're working on, status change. We're going to click on it and we have it. You see, we are back now. Not just back, the column we're interested in is also here, which is going to be status change. If I search for status, go to see status change. It's here now. So if it's equals to, meaning something has changed, otherwise nothing changed. So if something has changed, then we can come down here and effect the changes. Okay, let's then use a switch control because the change can actually be inspected, fixed, or assigned. So I'm going to say add an action, and here I want to add a switch. Switch allows you to have series of conditions, not just two conditions. This condition is yes or no, but I want to switch because of the different status value that we have. So I'm going to put here switch, look for switch. This is switch. And switch is saying that what am I interested in? I'm interested actually in status, in issue status. So if the issue status is assigned, I can add another switch. If the value is equals to inspected, I can add another switch if the value is equals to fixed. But the challenge here is I can't type the value. I need to use the numbers attributed to this. What do I mean by this? If I go back here and I go to my columns and I look for issue status, this is issue status. What are the values? If I scroll down there, remember we have new, we have assigned, we have inspected, we have fixed. But at the back end, the label is this, but this is the value. These are the numbers. When we were creating this column, we can change the numbers to 0, 1, 2, but this is what we have here. I'm not interested in new, so I need to copy this number. And that is what I'm evaluating, but I know when I put this number, this is assigned. Right, so right here, I'm going to put this here. So I'm evaluating assigned. I'm evaluating inspected, it has to be 2, is numerical. So the next one is 2, it ends with 2, the next one ends with 3. So we can always continue to number it that way. And right here, the last one is 3, which is fixed. And if it is not assigned, inspected, or fixed, then obviously it has to be new and nothing should be done because we already have something to handle that. So we have this 3 case condition. And okay, if it is assigned. What do we want? We want to send email. We want to send email and notify the inspector. Send an email, and we are sending this email to the inspector. So I have someone assigned as inspector. Inspector, okay, that's the inspector. So send email that, oh, something has been assigned to you. Subject, new damage inspection assigned. That is it there. So dear inspector, a new damage has been assigned to you for inspection. Don't forget, you can link directly, deep linking now. You can link to the item, but for us, we're going to link back just to the app so that I can open the app easily and check, what has been assigned and be able to access them there. Okay, click here to access the app. And while doing that, our lights, click here. I'm going to click on link, and here, because I've copied with numbers, so I need to go back here, add it. For you to be sure that it has affected it, you can use the switch. So once you do that switch, it shows that, this is the HTML part, that, okay, now the link has been embedded. Okay. And what if it is inspected? So do you want to notify the admin that, yes, it has been inspected? And right here, I'm going to add maybe an approval for inspected, so that I can see how it looks like for inspected, so that I can say approval. If it's inspected, then this is what you should send, approval. Let's send approval rather than sending an email. So the admin should receive an approval. Start and wait for approval. And it's connecting to approval, and it's done connecting now. And it's going to ask me, what kind of approval do I want to send? That's approval type. First to respond, approve or reject. I mean, you have to approve or reject the inspection, just notification. But I want you to see how the approval works right there. Approve or reject. That is the type I want. What is the title? Inspection completed. Inspection completed for what? We need to mention the damage observed. Remember, these guys are also number and not the value. So there's a way for us to retrieve them, but not in this particular video. In the appendix, we will definitely show how to get the actual value and not the numbers. The numbers are the back end, but the value is the label because they are choice. Okay, so yeah, let's just put the damage observed. We know it's number, but let's put it there. Who are we assigning this to? Back to the admin. The admin is Ola Charles. Yep, that is the admin. What is the detail? Say inspector Denboke has completed the inspection of damage observed. We know that I'm going to quote it so that it's number that will be there, not value. We'll show you how to do that in another video. If you figure that out yourself, awesome. Inspection of damage observed. Because this is markdown, for me to truly move to a new line, I need to put my space twice. Apply space twice before you press enter. That is going to generate new line for you. Kindly approve or reject. We'll find here, I'm going to save. Let me see the flow checker. It has not been installed. Let's save first. Wait and error so that I can check. Anytime you see this is a message, approval has not been installed for this environment. Run this approval to initialize provisioning. Okay, it has not been installed for the environment, but now we have two processes. Once it's assigned, the inspector gets email notification. Once it is changed to inspected, the admin gets approval request. And once it is fixed, we can always communicate email or leave it like that. But we're going to focus on these two today because of time. Let's test and actually see. Don't forget, what is making this easy for us is because upon change of the status column, we make sure that this issue status column, we make sure that status change is also changing, and we can evaluate that condition here. So let's even try this out and test and see. Okay, so I'm going to go back home right here and play this and go to reports. These are new. Yep, we can start with this. I can edit this and say assign to. The moment I'm assigning to inspector, then go okay. And I'm going to change the status to assign. Then I'm going to set this. So it's no longer under new, it is now in assign. I can see right there, if I click on assign, I will see status change is not here, right here, because I didn't add it to this view, but it has taken place. So if I go back here, your flow is ready to run, it's turned on and will be triggered. Okay, I have made an update, just waiting for it to be triggered and take place. Let's refresh this. In the meantime, Smilis, if there are questions, can ask me now, especially some of the things I did here. Let me use this time to add on the detail screen. Let me add the status change so that I can see the difference, because the column, the date will have been added. Status change. I'm just adding it so that I can see that, oh, the date would have been created. So status change is here. For example, it has had this date. This date is here. This format is month, day, year. It is month, day, year. Okay. But let's come back here and refresh this. Okay, it's done. It's successful. 39 seconds ago. Definitely it's not going to do anything because it's going to evaluate to false because it could not match the column, could not match the start date because of the condition. All right, it's false, like I said, because one is day, month, year, the other is month, day, year. So let's update this quickly. So I'm going to update this, and in my condition, what I have, instead of saying day, month, year, I'm going to make it month, day, year. And that is all I will need to do. I'll come back to be sure. Month, day, year. Yes, I'm going to save. I don't need to change it again. I can rerun the flow. Okay, I can rerun the flow right now on that test. Automatically, the one that was successful will run. Oh, it's done running. Condition is still false. Show raw input. Okay. And since condition is false, it's not going to trust. Let's see what. Okay, I hope it's not this extra space. Nope. It is in our model year. I hope the year should be four letter Y. I guess I made a difference. Okay, save again. And let's test. We're going to test for both assigned and inspected so I can see the approval part of it.
While you are updating that and you're waiting for it to test, I just want to note thing is that with Power Automate, so you're able to debug wherever you are going wrong, most especially your action example, you check in real time that your conditions are being met, and obviously the format of either of your, for an example, a column that is coming from Power Apps or whatever dot is being sent to Power Apps to your data source, and you being able to pull it back onto Power Automate. You're able to change that in real time, and it's one of the few things that actually allow you to pick up on certain issues, pick up on problems whenever you are doing you're building your middleware, you're building your automation for your solution, because obviously you would need to specify like a correct format or whatever correct way that you need to specify something on.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Somelis. Actually, that is it. Right now, unfortunately, I still run it and I'm looking at what is happening here. This is status change. It has month, day, and year, which is fine. And am I making any mistake here? Do I need to quote this? Let's see. One thing you can also do is, since it's not working, I can add a compose to debug to see what is actually in the code. If you had compose, you'll be able to see the exact value that my expression is writing back, especially the format data that I'm using. Formats. I guess I will need to refresh for this guy to pick up. Okay, I can copy it, by the way. I can copy it here so that I'm not really Control C, come back here, expression, I'm going to paste, then have it here. Let's run so that we can see exactly how is it returning the value. Maybe that is the difference. Okay. It's successful. Then let's see here. So it's returning month, day, and the year is why it's not actually the number that we want. This is why it is not evaluating. Let me check. Submit
So
mistakenly.
on your expression, it needs to be small letters whenever you are
Yes,
providing
yes.
date, food,
My
and
caps lock
year.
was on. Thanks. So it is small letter Y, not capital letter. So that is actually what we missed. But you see how I was able to debug to see the value. What is outputting and why is this thing not equating? I'm going to update right here now, which is done. I can take out this. So it's out and I can say, and let's test. We should be good right now. Let's test right here. So the flow is running, and obviously it's successful now because it takes some seconds more than usual. So it's successful, but what is successful? It is true. It could evaluate that yes, something changed, that status actually changed, and switch. What change was observed? So this is the change that was observed, which is assigned. Remember, this is assigned. And I send an email to this person that a damage has been assigned to you for inspection. You know, that is the status on assigned. Let's go ahead on this same app and play this and edit. We've assigned it, but let's move it to inspected. It's been inspected. We expect to see the date column will also change, and then I'm going to click on save here. Inspected, assigned is no longer there. If I go to inspected, I'm going to find it here. It's inspected, and my flow is going to run. And when it runs, it's going to send an approval. Waiting for it to get the trigger. Okay, it's running right now. At the moment, it's running. And because it starts and wait for approval, it's not going to complete running until I have approved or until the admin approves. So it's true. The switch here is the second one here, which is assigned or inspected. And this is it. If I go to my mail, I'm going to get the request. Even on Microsoft Teams, I'll get the request, but let's just wait for a few seconds here. The request should drop. So I see how it looks in the email asking, I hope it's not here. No, it's not here. So it sent that request for approval to my email. I'll be able to see request for approval. And let me double check the email that was sent to. I can't even
And
check it.
another way to actually do it is that you can
It's
also
a
check
Microsoft
them.
Teams.
Yeah, on
I can check
Microsoft Teams.
here approvals. Yeah, someone is going to go on. I can see the approval here. I can go to approval because it's my account. I can still see the approval right under approval and still received. Nothing has been sent to me, except I made mistakes, sent or received, nothing yet. This is why I've not seen anything in the email as well. Or you can go to Microsoft Teams and you will see the prompt in Microsoft Teams. I don't have Teams open now, but overall, I can see that no approval has been sent because even in Power Automate, I don't see sent, I don't see remove, received. So back to our flow and let's look at why is it so. I think it's the environment. So I'm going to open this up and check the condition. Again, the switch, the case for approval, start and wait for approval. I'm sending this, yep, to the right email. So I expect to actually get it. I'm sending it to the right email. Let me sign here. Hey, let's go back and debug. I'm not so sure why Is running right now. Approval has been sent, but unfortunately, I'm not seeing the approval. And my email is correct. Is it not correct? Yeah, it's correct. It's waiting for approval. I'm going to pause this and rerun in case there's a glitch somewhere. I'm going to cancel right now and rerun the flow to test. You can easily cancel there and resubmit right here. So you resubmit and let's use this to evaluate. So it's going to resubmit this item and you'll be able to follow through again. It has evaluated to true. Yep, currently it has sent approval request. If I get it, I'm going to get email prompts. And I've not gotten any email prompt right now. Then if I go to my approval, I've not received. Could it be in my environment?
Can you refresh there on the tab for your email?
Yeah. Because on the web, not yet. Not yet. Except I maybe I have a folder for that. I don't have a folder for that. So it should have dropped. Hmm. Okay. This is funny, but ideally we should receive the approval right here where we're able to is running, but I unfortunately don't know where it is. Let me check edit columns. Direction. I don't need that. So I'm going to look into this without taking much time on this live session. I'm not so sure why you shouldn't have this issue when you're running on your hand. My environment is acting funny because this is a developer environment. So if there is an issue, that's why it's not advised for live or production work. But I'm going to look into it and be sure that in the part 2 of this video, which we see on our blog post, this issue will have been fixed. Are there questions, Emily, so that we can wrap this up? Don't forget two assignment that you have. First is the deep linking. So you link directly to the app and make sure you go to our ak.ms/local.october so that I can see the link to the Power BI session where we build dashboard and report based on the data that is generated from all these things we're entering. And then, are you sure you want to close? Yes. We're able to build dashboard based on the data we have here and embed this dashboard back into the mobile application. Okay, so thank you. Over to you, Semenis.
Thank you so much, Ola. There is just one question from Joseph in terms of so the compose action can help know some of the challenges faced in Power Automate. I'll let you, Ola, answer that. I also have an answer towards that too.
Yes, the compose has a lot of function and a lot of use, and because it is not really sending output somewhere else, it is retaining output for itself. So when you put something in it, it's going to hold it for you, and so you can, and it's not throwing it to someone else. So you can easily use it to evaluate your expression, just to be sure, just to see what is being output. For example, when I ran this condition, I could not look into it. What exactly the result were? I couldn't check when I show raw outputs, raw inputs. This is all I could see. I can't see them, but if I put them in a compose, you will see the actual value being evaluated within that compose expression. That is response to that.
Thank you so much, Ola. On my end, in terms of the answer to that, is that the compose function is one of the best tricks I've ever used whenever I'm using Power Automate because I'm able to keep track of where I'm going wrong within my Power Automate flow or which data is being pulled. There are other tricks, obviously, that you can use within Power Automate to pull data from different things so that you can be able to use it on other actions. Right. That was an amazing session from Oladawanju showing us how we can actually use Power Automate to build a better user experience through the processes for our middleware for our application, which is a facility maintenance solution. So you must be wondering what's next. Right now, you can post on Twitter about this session and LinkedIn, obviously, about the stuff that you've been trying out using the specific video, which will be very much available to you on demand right after we end our stream. Post about what you're trying out while you're following along with the video. Tag me and Olaruanju on Twitter, on LinkedIn too, so that we can see what you guys are building. And obviously, if you have any questions, you can always ask us questions on Twitter or LinkedIn. Again, your assignment now, which Ola has been mentioning this entire time, is that be able to use deep link within Power Automate, where you are using or making the link in the notification email open directly the item that is within Power Apps. There are other ways to do this, or there are other specific applications or other specific links that you can link it to, but your assignment is to be able to make that link to open a specific item within Power Apps. And lastly, go to the AKA link that we just provided to you on the stream, obviously on the chat too, so that you can go through and understand the business processes that we have and business rules that we have for Low Code October, for the facility maintenance app, and also for the facility maintenance process, which is we just went through with Olarawanju. Olarawanju, is there anything you want
Yes.
to add on that?
Yes, so I finally figured out why the approval wasn't working. It's because the new environment is getting set up, and I got a notification now. Ralph, can you help us just push my screen so that I show the exact approval? I've gotten the notification now, and right here, you see, I've gotten an email, update email. Because it's a new environment we are building this solution, and that was why I was getting some notification here. The approval will be provisioned, but right now I have it in my email and is sending this to me. Approval. This is how it will look like. Inspection completed for, remember its value, say Inspector Dimiboke has completed the inspection for this. Kindly approve or reject. I can go in here and say approve. I can click here and say reject. If I say approve and pass comment, well done, I can submit. Right inside email, I can respond to this approval. And it's done. If I go back and you can see on my Microsoft Teams as well, I've got a notification that yes, there's an approval for you and you've actually responded to it right on Teams. So not just on your web or maybe in your Outlook, even on Microsoft Teams, you can respond to your approval right there. And even on Power Automate, you can still respond to this approval. If I go back here now, flow ran successfully because the approval has been attended to. And if I go to my approvals at the left-hand side, if I come to send history and refresh, I can see there is inspection completed, which we've addressed now. So it was because it's provisioning in this environment for the first time. That was why it took that long. You shouldn't have that challenge at the time. Thank you.
Amazing, Ola. You know, whenever you're doing solutions and you're building solutions, there are different things and different requirements that you need to look at, most especially if you are on a new environment. That's how approvals look like within an email. And obviously, again, just like Ola said, you can also approve an approval request on Microsoft Teams. You don't necessarily have to look at it on your Outlook email. That was an amazing session, Olarawanju. I appreciate you walking us through how to build a process for our facility maintenance solution and also adding in the middleware. Obviously, that was not as scary as we thought because we heard the word middleware. It was actually very easy and simple to follow through. Again, just to reiterate, if you guys are following along with the session, in which I advise you to, and follow along with the video and obviously build your own process onto the app that you already built from our previous session and share it with us on Twitter or LinkedIn, and obviously do this assignment of deep linking specific links within your notification so that it can open directly in Power Apps. Other than that, thank you so much for coming into our session and attending, and hopefully you guys learned so much. And obviously, this is Low Code October, and we are looking forward to seeing you guys again on our next session, which is the last part of this three-part series where we're analyzing data using Power BI. Again, I don't want to say too much about that. Find out on that specific episode that we're going to have next week. From me, thank you, Ola, and thank you, Ravneet, in the background for allowing us to do the session. Ola, any last words?
Oh, you've said it all. Thanks everyone for joining. And I want to encourage you to go to and visit aka.ms/local.october. This session, you'll see there the complimentary session for this, for the things that were missed during this session, you also find them there. So, yeah, thanks, Salas. Thanks you. Thanks, Pios. And bye for now, everyone.
Bye, everyone.